Alright, hello everyone, and now welcome to a game, another 2v2 matchup. Ally and, Death Knight and MuscleMike going up against, let's see who it's going to be. Ally and HaTeD1. Not quite sure who, some of these players are, but this was taken from a recent event, a 2v2, and we'll see how this game does go. Death Knight spawning over here as the teal undead player. Meanwhile, MuscleMike spawning as the teal orc over here on what I'll call the north and west side of the map. Meanwhile, Ally spawning as the orc off over here on the east side, and finally the last red undead over here on the south. 2v2 matchups from, players that we can perhaps emulate a little bit more. Watching professional players is always very exciting, but sometimes I've realized that watching professional players just frustrates me because I know that I see what they're doing in a single game, and I know that, well, I'm not able to pull off those particular strategies, and just trying to learn incrementally. For all of you guys who are waiting on Stormgate, I had forgot to tell you that this week's actually open beta for Stormgate right now. So I believe if you just head over to Steam, you can download and play it. There were a ton of people playing it, and with a wider pool, I was actually brave enough to try and do a placement match. Won my first placement match. Unfortunately, the replay viewer of Stormgate still isn't that good as of yet. Doesn't really tell you resources, what you're doing, all of the things. But remember, it is still in a beta. Anyways, coming back around, we're looking at Farseer coming around here. There is a Orc Burrow. Grunt's now going to go ahead and get trained up. Farseer already out, ready to put some pressure onto that Acolyte there. Meanwhile, off onto the north side, we are looking at a Death Knight here. Farseer coming back around onto the other side, as it is going to be a Cryptlord coming in from the red undead. Alright, looks like harassment is going to be the main strategy now, as the undead, opting to go for perhaps to help try and clear out this creep camp here. No, not quite sure. Acolyte off over here is going to... Sorry, getting distracted by my children trying to talk above their morning complaints, so to speak. Alright, Death Knight hiding off to the side here. Gonna simply walk past that wolf. Death Knight wants to get in some harassment, wants to clear out some of these creep camps, but the Farseer is nearby enough and does have that Nerubian tower. Alright, red Farseer are going to be forced to back up here. Meanwhile, Farseer of MuscleMike clearing out this, gold mine creep camp should give him the level 2. Meanwhile, we're looking off over here. Yes, same thing for the Cryptlord. Cryptlord is actually taking the looks like he's going to be taking his partner's Expo to try and get, better positioning. This positioning makes a lot of sense. You want it further away from your opponent, as we're still looking at some engagements going back and forth here. Alright, a little bit of poke damage back around. Farseer unable to finish off a ghoul, as the Death Knight, still racking up a little bit of hits and kills here. Headhunter going to be forced to double back around. One Headhunter down across over here. He's going to be forced to do a little bit of a dance, as Allied now looking to back away. More ghouls going to get taken down. No, beautiful Death Coil just in time. More exchanges once more, as the Headhunter now down to 95 hit points. One more Death Coil should finish him off. That's going to be a low hit point Headhunter right there. It's going to get taken down. Death Knight now on the board with some experience. Farseer hasn't really gotten all that much. I would have expected more based on the number of skeletal minions I've seen fall and a number of low hit point ghouls, but many of those ghouls perhaps able to get away. Nerubian Tower here, Scroll of Speed, however, counteracting the Nerubian Tower nicely. Gonna go ahead and Chain Lightning, and here you are racking up signs of damage here. Cryptlord, however, can easily get an impale off on this Farseer, get a stun, and this could be extremely bad news if the Farseer tries to get a little bit too greedy. Nerubian Tower is there, and it looks like MuscleMike may be actually getting a little bit too greedy. There is that impale. Scroll of Town Portal with 3 hit points left. Talk about cutting it close. Able to head away. Scroll of a Healing Salve coupled with Clarity Potion, purposely backing up now. And we're going to look at that Beetle. Well, I thought he was going to try and attack that Farseer, but no. Cool live matches. Live tournament, always fun. I can't find it's not a live tournament. This was taken from a live tournament. Yeah. I wish I could do live tournaments, but I don't have the time to set aside for a couple of hours to cast during the day when live tournaments do happen. This was Liquipedia. What, the random teams? 2v2? Haven't watched in a while. Have been busy. Good to hear. Yep. Well, thank you for tuning in. We are looking at, well, the Death Knight trying to venture forth onto Blight. It finds a Nerubian tower and is going to be forced to back away. The Teal Undead here playing a pretty dangerous game as Headhunters and Farseer is ready to perhaps welcome this Death Knight back. All right, Death Knight going to try and dive on in here. Get a little bit of damage. There's 1 or 2 attacks. The Nerubian tower isn't positioned in a way far enough to actually hit that Death Knight, and he'll be able to get away fairly easily. Meanwhile, in the center portion, MuscleMike able to easily clear out of this Forest Troll Berserker creep camp in the center portion. And not all 4 of these creep camps in the center are made equally. The Forest Troll Berserker ones do have, well, medium armor on them, and because of that, it makes it easier for grunts and these Spirit Wolves to clean that up. However, we're looking at now the red undead with a very, very large army, or a very wide army of units making their way out across the battlefield. The Great Hall is going to be completed, but it may get shut down before it really gets going. No, instead, going to go ahead and get some more corpses, perhaps more beetles and more skeletal minions. Coming back around, MuscleMike coming across here with Chain Lightning, able to bounce around some damage. Dire Wolves looking to get some damage as well, as we're looking at another Acolyte getting taken down. Necropolis still staying at tier 1 after all this time, but he does have this Expo off in the corner, constantly training up Acolytes. Mikey now coming back around, trying to finish off some more of perhaps of these ghouls, as some well, wolves. Beautiful micro coming in across from the red undead, actually splitting the attack, that cold attack, making it difficult for the Spirit Wolves to catch up, but it still looks like the job will get done. Overlay has stalled. Hero skills still updating live. All right. Yeah, well, I don't have the 2v2 overlay that I would like. I know Todd has one, but I've never gotten the strong 2v2. Oh, is that an impale on a poor sheep and that was it? All right. Coming back around on Beetles, being forced to retreat back here. Death Knight coming across with the Lich and the Tauren Chieftain. They're going to be going into an engagement here. Do you see a Shockwave? And MuscleMike now trying to get a Shockwave, trying to, well, focus down and weed out of this, well, thin army. Meanwhile, there's still 1 Beetle across over here, getting in some easy kills on this Peon line. It looks like the Ghouls will be able to back away. However, the center portion of the map does still have creeps, as the Farseer of Ally trying to clear things up here. Level 2 now on the Shadowhunter. Farseer sitting at level 2, going to pick up that Ankh of Reincarnation, as the units are going to perhaps, well, recenter themselves here in just a moment. Meanwhile, Spirit Wolf still trying to go after the Ghouls off on the far side here, as the Crypt Lord going up against all of, well, little bit of a indecision by the red undead. Unsure where to go. His partner was already in the center portion of the map, so I would have thought a fight at the fountain would have been a better call instead of trying to go through these Ogre Maulers and Ogre Brutes. Perhaps a couple of units could have been lost. Mike now coming across here does have Raiders and also a Wind Rider. Going to finish off this Nerubian tower. There's 1 more Nerubian tower back here, as we see some Chain Lightning bouncing across again. All right, a couple of Acolytes could easily get taken down, and it looks as though red undead unable to really get an economic advantage, constantly being forced to try and train up Acolytes, as Acolytes have been falling left and right. Back off to the north here, Orc Burrows have that fortified defense. Farseer gets up to level 3. We see some repairs underway now, as those Spirit Wolves are trying to go after those units now. The repairs, well, working hard as the Headhunters trying to take down that fortified armor with no such luck. Well, there goes 1 Headhunter there, level 2 now finally on the Death Knight of Teal, as they're just dancing back and forth. Meanwhile, Tauren Chieftain could have a little bit of a problem. Is he going to get impaled and surrounded? That is the question. There's the impale, there is the surround, and Mikey trying to break his way free, not going to be able to do so. Did do a shockwave onto the Skeletal Warrior down south, but follow-up attacks on to the Carrion Beetle instead. All right, going into engagement, we see some Wind Riders and Raiders, perfect for picking apart these fleeing units. A couple of, well, ghouls easily going to get taken down as we're looking at the, well, perhaps a Raider needs to get taken out or pulled back. Not quite sure why these units are not being saved here. There goes one. Level 4 now on the Farseer. Another Skeletal Minion going to get taken out, and only one Ghoul left. Everything else is a summoned unit. Raiders going to try to make their way across here. Perhaps the Crypt going to take a little bit of damage. Are we looking at Crypt Fiends? No, still mass ghouls, but the Raiders are still looking to, well, take down the buildings before they're able to train up anything. No pillage researched, as the Raiders are just destroying all of these buildings now. Ghouls now making their way back over. Farseer perhaps going to get in some chain lightnings, but needs a little bit more mana. Ghoul is going to try and come in with a swarm. There's a massive impale, and beautifully done by the undead here to try and impale. If Mike actually had a little bit of gold or a pillage, perhaps this trade would have been a bit better, but now it's not looking nearly as good. All right, we're looking at the Haunted Goldmine taking quite a bit of damage. There goes another impale again, stopping many of these Raiders from getting in the attack now. Farseer wants to try to finish off this Haunted Goldmine. Level 4 now on the Crypt Lord, and is the Haunted Goldmine going to get taken down? Yes, it will, but at what cost? Farseer needs to get out of here. Tauren Chieftain shows up, and we're just looking at the Farseer fighting back across here. There's a Shockwave ripping on through. A couple more Acolytes could have been taken down. Wind Rider unable to finish that off as the Acolyte able to back away. All right, so we are now operating on one mining base for the undead. The Acolytes unable to repair as the Raiders were beating down on that Haunted Gold Mine. As there just seems to be fights all across the map, everywhere, all at once right now. Tauren Chieftain, well, Tri-Hero Orc, Farseer, Shadow Hunter, Tauren Chieftain ready to put pressure into the base of a Death Knight here as those buildings are quickly taken down. All right, I do not think that, well, Death Knight was expecting Ally to be this strong, and suddenly we're looking at a similar situation here. Ensnare, not going to be in time. The Crypt Lord able to get away, use that Scroll of Town portal. All right, inbound here, Farseer, Tauren Chieftain, Shadow Hunter ready to engage. No easy stuns as the units are now retreating back. Well, Obsidian statues are getting to get ensnared, and that is the problem. Trying to run away, whichever army is running away, their back units generally get picked off. This Obsidian statue not moving fast enough to keep up with this Death Knight. Couple of Acolytes easily going to get taken down here. This Obsidian statue of Death Knight now once more out of position, and that would have been a major, major boost to the Orc Undead army, being able to, well, top off mana and hit points on these units continually. Both sides fighting their way through. Mikey decides to go ahead and back out. Same thing with Death Knight. Going to go ahead and teleport back away, and down away they go. Constant hit and run tactics from both sides, but it feels like Teal is finally starting to take the lead. Death Knight is working on a smaller base now since, well, Ally was able to run amok inside that base earlier. Spirit Wolves also just being summoned and constantly putting pressure on this peon line. Mikey having a little bit of a difficult time here. It looks as though, going to go ahead and try and build a watchtower as the watchtower quickly, is the peon going to stay? Oh, the peon might be able to stay alive here. There's a disenchant and a quick kill once more. Wind Riders making their way through. We can see Spirit Link has been cast across all of these units, and allowing the Wind Riders to absorb quite a bit more of that damage, as now we're looking at the Raider just trying to back away again. Constant hit and run here as Chain Lightning does find a couple of easy targets. All right, Acolyte after Acolyte starting to fall. Mikey really trying to play the economic game, prevent the mining, and then once the mining is, well, weakened, well, there should be a smaller army out on the battlefield. Mikey now retreating once more. Scroll of Town portal. Is he heading back off to the north? He is not heading off to the, well, he could have been heading off to the north there, but the Black Citadel, or the necropolis was taken out. All right, ally doing a tactical hit onto the scroll of or onto the hall of the undead base. Now Mikey being forced to walk all the way across the map. Mikey's army or supply 45 over 72, as it looks like the tides have turned. Death Knight going to be in some serious trouble, as the Death Knight does have a potion of lesser invulnerability. Going to try and get away. Is he going to use the potion of invulnerability in time? He does, and he's now trying to sneak on through here. Is he going to be able? Yes, there's a potion of healing. There's a scroll of healing. There's a book of dead, and suddenly an army just pretty much pops up out of nowhere. There goes an Impale. Death Knight now needs to back away. No obsidian statues, and it's going to be some time before they're back on the battlefield, as we're looking at the Tauren Chieftain now trying to make its way across here. Resumming up a necropolis. There is one acolyte who ended up surviving. We're still looking at a little bit of fighting here, as we now have a level 2 Crypt Lord as well. All right. What one team does, another team does just as well, trying to take down the main buildings and preventing that mining. All right, Halls of the Dead completed off over here. We're looking at additional acolytes, perhaps going to be trained up. Summoning is definitely necessary as the Death Knight makes its way over again. All right, repairs are going to be underway. There's a quick Death Coil. Peons trying to survive, trying to repair, unable to do that, as we see another Impale go down. All right, level 4 Crypt Lord. Shadowhunter shows up onto the battlefield here. Tauren Chieftain doesn't have enough mana for a spell just quite yet. Spirit Link getting cast across, as the Death Knight now trying to back away. There's a tactical Scroll of Town Portal to get away. There's the Death Coil for the save, as they all back up again. All right. Obsidian statues from Death Knight now finally, well, ready to fight alongside of this undead army. Remember, 2 obsidian statues were lost earlier, and which would have greatly improved Death Knight's, well, hit points and mana. Always remember to keep your back line, the fragile line that holds your army together. Otherwise, you may find yourselves in uncomfortable situations. Now, we're coming back across here. Farseer, Shadowhunter, Tauren Chieftain ready to put in pressure. There's that obsidian statue once more getting ensnared. Ally doing a good job finding the glue and then trying to take it down. There's still one obsidian statue back in the back, though, as we see a quick stomp here. Death Knight in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get ensnared again, and he's going to get taken down. Death Coil does do a little bit of departing damage to the Raider, but really not enough. Spirit Tower in the back, out of range. Crypt Lord falling. Lich now bound down to itself here, trying to fight its way through, but the sheer numbers of allies' orc army is just too much. Coming back around here, Mikey is spending his time clearing up the remainder of this expo. Not really high priority, but the Farseer gonna go ahead and teleport away. Not quite sure where they're teleporting to. Gonna go ahead and teleport it down to the south side here, as Mikey is gonna teleport back. All right, losing that temple, or losing that temple of the damned. Not quite sure what was so important about that, but the main mining here still happening at the 6 o'clock spot. Meanwhile, Death Knight Crypt Lord putting pressure here at the 9 o'clock spot. West side trying to clear out this orc burrow. And, well, with only heroic damage and piercing damage, even with all of these summoned, not being able to easily take down this orc burrow here. Death Coil seemed like more of a knee-jerk reaction. That Crypt Fiend didn't seem like it was in trouble, as all the units are backing away again. All right. Tauren Chieftain, Farseer, another Scroll of Town Portal purchased, trying to pick off more units once more. Summoning up new buildings here. Look like a couple of, well, envenomed. All right, can we just say that this game's a little bit strange? Like the chaos of a 2v2 matchup, both sides constantly putting in pressure, constantly switching and changing spots, and no real defining lines. It's always been base play, even just maybe even just minor base harassment that's led to the destructions of expos and bases. Wind Rider is going to be able to easily clear out this corner creep camp here, peer up the vitality on the Tauren Chieftain, as the undead army is trying to pick off a couple of units that are in the corner of the battlefield here. There's a tiny Great Hall by Mike now, and now the army of Mike is just too much for the red undead. There's going to be a turnaround in Pale, but it's not going to be enough, and it feels like the red undead was just unsure of how strong Mike's army could be. Meanwhile, Mike is nearing mining out of his main base here, and that's the reason why he's trying to take up that corner expo with a tiny Great Hall. Voodoo Lounge quickly taken down, take down those critical low hit point buildings that really help the Orc army, as we see a couple of ensnares go in as well. All right, Wind Riders are going to see a stomp shockwave, something to deal with those berserkers in that back line. Death Knight, there's a stomp right there onto the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain still sitting at level 2, trying to get to level 3. Perhaps trying to push forward just a little bit more. Scroll of speed right there. There's a little bit of some Envenom Spears. There's a Shockwave ripping on through. Healing Wave as the Tauren Chieftain ends up getting taken down. But there's an Anka Reincarnation forcing Ally to fight here. All right. This means that the Tauren Chieftain is going to be by himself. There's a massive stomp. They tried to surround a Tauren Chieftain, but level 2 Stomp just getting the job done once more. There goes an Impale. There's a Shockwave as the Tauren Chieftain still fighting his way through. All right, a lot of low hit point units off to the side. Headhunt or Berserkers trying to push their way through. 3-0 upgrades. Allies, Tauren Chieftain down to 87 hit point and able to survive. Still giving Endurance Aura in that back line. Wind Riders are getting, absolutely webbed down now, and Mikey is in some serious trouble, but the Tauren Chieftain falls at level 4. All right, little bit of Healing Wave going back around here. Death Knight doesn't have enough mana, but, it looks like Mikey's army is rather weak and does need to recharge quite a bit. And without a Voodoo Lounge, no healing salves, as that was a tactical takedown earlier. Mikey gonna lose, this Kodo Beast off to the side here. Both armies are on life support, but it looks as though Red has more hit points, and that means that they have a little bit more staying power. All right, off to the north here. Mining still happening on the southern location. Main gold mines nearly mined out. Orc burrows, completely empty. They've been rotated out here as well. Perhaps fighting at the Fountain of Health or moving units to the Fountain of Health would be useful, but Fountain of Health, a little bit of a dangerous proposition at times. All right, Dire Wolves going to easily get taken out, get finished off, as the main base, is suffering quite a bit of damage. All right, Mikey trying to regroup and get together here. Tauren Chieftain perhaps going to try and push on in together. And this is this little bit of a dance going back and forth. Are we going to see this Raider get taken down? That Raider simply walked through that entire Orc army, and now we're looking at a potential flank along the backside. There's a Shockwave ripping on through, but a Healing Wave in a time to prevent any very low hit point units. All right, trying to get in position again. Wolves are going to try and engage here, trying to take down a couple of those Raiders. One Raider down, another Raider down. Tauren Chieftain pushing on through here, as the Tauren Chieftain is seeing that level 3. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Level 5 now on the Farseer, and this is the big fight for everything now, as Allies Farseer could be in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to back away, trailing units down on the south side here, as it is a little bit of a retreat. Farseer going to just use that Scroll of Town Portal. No, doesn't Scroll of Town Portal, ends up falling at level 4, and now, Red Undead is going to be in trouble, as his partner is fleeing back away. Are they going to try to win this game economically? Are they going to realize that there's a Fountain of Health in the center to try and retreat all of your low hit point units? Those just important things, as the Shadow Wolf could have easily just dove in on that Berserker there. All right, are we going to heal at the Fountain of Health? We are. Berserker looking to perhaps try and stay alive a little while longer. Dire Wolf, Shadow Wolf, still doing a little bit of chasing.
A player's forces are under attack.
All right. Death Knight and MuscleMike able to hold on somehow. We're also looking at Death Knight now finally establishing up a new gold mine. The main gold mine just now finishing, so Acolytes should be rotating back over. And economically, Well, it feels like the teal army has traction once again. Coming back around. Well, Wind Rider is ready to engage. Level 5 level 5 Farseer, level 4 Death Knight, level 3 Tauren Chieftain, level 2 Shadow Hunter with a level 3 Lich as well. Still, Obsidian statues need to get added in here to try and prolong the undead army as long as possible. All right, coming back around here, Crypt Fiends with web can easily web down many of these here. And right now it's a, 3v2 fight as there are Crypt Fiends, or as the creeps are still engaging. Obsidian statue in the middle portion of the fight here. There goes that Ogre Magi, and now we're pushing back towards Red Orc. All right, Orc quickly taken down. There goes an Impale, and quick death on that Shadow Hunter. Impale going back the other way as the Red Undead trying to stop the damage. All right, Red Undead able to stop the damage. MuscleMike now turning back around, going into the other direction, as this is a straight up pincer play right here. Obsidian statue currently ensnared. We're looking at the Tauren Chieftain. Is he going to be in trouble? He tries to stomp. He does get a stomp off, but he still ends up getting taken down. All right, both sides fighting their way through, trying to chase down this fleeing red army, only to see that your own units are getting picked off slowly, one at a time as well. Red Crypt Fiends coming across to engage. That Obsidian statue would have been, ripe for the picking. For some reason, not doing so. There goes that Wind Rider there. Death Knight, no Scroll of Town Portal. It was transferred over from the Crypt Lord, but the Death Knight didn't use it in time. All right. Crazy game on both sides now. I still believe that Death Knight and MuscleMike are the clear victors at this point. Plenty of opportunities though for Red to really turn the tables, especially in that last fight when Teal was just trying to chase and thinning out its own army. Also, Spirit Link making it rather difficult to figure out who's really low on hit points, as damage is just getting spread across multiple units again and again. All right, Farseer sitting at level 5. Crypt Lord gets up to level 6. Level 6 Crypt Lord, however, no ultimate ability, and with I believe ally without any of its units, this is going to be the end right there. There goes a quick Impale, and that is going to be the game. Waiting for a GG now at this point. All the other heroes are gone. All the lines are gone. Ally has left. And there we go. No GG, MuscleMike and Death Knight able to scrounge together and pull together the win. There were mistakes going around, trying to chase, not fighting on unified battlefronts, and it was and losing control of precious units such as Obsidian statues. Still, though, you can't let your minor mistakes throw off the way you play. You just got to make the next right move to try and keep it going. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.